Hello, and welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. It is June 8th, and I'm not coming directly from work, like some June 7th we know. No, I am perusing a copy of Kenneth Anger's Hollywood Babylon. Why? Because I'm looking to find out if Audrey Munson is in here, and she ain't. She was born on this day in 1891, and her story deserves to be in here. Maybe it's because she didn't ever make it to Hollywood. She was here in New York City. She was New York's first celebrity, like superstar model, who would pose for tons and tons of statues that are all over New York City that were done in like the Beaux Arts era, 1910, give or take, something like that. She was also nude in a film in 1915 that was not a porno, but a non-porno. That's what you call them, right? Those type of movies. And people were obsessed with her, and she was making tons and tons of money, and her landlord wound up killing his wife because he was obsessed with Audrey and wanted to be with her, and she wound up getting wrapped up in the court case somehow. And this was like 1915-ish, maybe a little bit later, I don't know, something like that. And she wound up getting wrapped up in the case and like couldn't be hired, and wound up changing her name and trying to act in another way. It wasn't working, and then tried to commit suicide. And then in, I want to say 1921, something like that, her mother had her institutionalized, where she spent the next like 70 years or something like that in an insane asylum. She didn't die until like 1996. Imagine that. So she's not in here, but maybe her story actually like overshadows a lot of the fiction that Kenneth Anger put into Hollywood Babylon. Speaking of fiction, Leslie F. Stone, born today, 1905, science fiction writer from the 20s and 30s. Here's two of the pulp mags she would have her stories printed in, although I think she mainly was in Astounding Stories. Amazing Stories, excuse me, not Astounding. Amazing Stories. Printed by Hugo Gernsback. In this case, here she made it on the cover, and which story is in here? When the Flame Flowers Blossomed, a bizarre fantasy about strange life found on Venus by two explorers from Earth. Alright, okay, how about this one? What you got in here? Death Dallies a While, the story of a microscopic universe created by the genius of a great scientist. That sounds pretty good, right? In these early days of science fiction, it was mostly a men's club. It was rare that women were printed or were reflected in fandom. It was rare that women that either wrote in as fans in letters pages of these magazines or actually contributing fiction would write under their own names. Sometimes they would even write as like guys as pen names. And I've mentioned it before, but I feel like it bears repeating. I think that is so telling that here's an entire subculture fandom that is defined by pushing out one's boundaries, exploring concepts that haven't been explored yet, utopian futures, science marvels that have yet to be figured out in the real life, and yet they are still so tied into the era that they're living in that like women don't even have like a equal place yet. It's pretty amazing. She was right on that cusp as far as women being able to be printed as themselves, or at least as their gender. Forrest J. Ackerman would have been one of those very young fans writing into those letter columns in the 20s and 30s, and was a big proponent of all different walks of life, their existence, their value, their place in fandom, their place in the world and the universe. I can't find it here, but he made a anthology many years later, collecting early 20s and 30s women and their stories in a hardcover collection called Womanthology, as edited by Forrest J. Ackerman from Famous Monsters magazine fame and plenty more. Yeah. What else? It's pretty warm out there. I meant to turn the air conditioner off because otherwise it sounds like doing this next to a jet engine or something, right? Yeah. Which is funny because on this day in 1984, one of, if not the best Christmas movies ever was released. Yeah. What was it? Gremlins. Yeah. Released today in 1984. I love this movie. I have no idea why they didn't wait and hold off 6 months to put it out during Christmas, but I'm glad we got it when we did. The sooner the better, right? Yeah. Or at least, sometime before midnight. Timing is everything with Gremlins. Right. And timing is everything with today's Decay, because we celebrate births and beginnings and everything important at the dawn of time, and this is what happened today throughout history, and maybe this is how you want to define your life today on this sweltering June 8th day. Until tomorrow, goodbye!